While 24 hours is not enough to experience Hanoi, a city with over 1,000 years of history, legendary street food, and non-stop energy, it is enough time to see sunrise over the lake and watch a late night train flying past your cafe table as you're having a drink. Honestly, Hanoi completely won me over, and it's one of my favorite cities I've ever visited. Full transparency, we spent about a day and a half in the city, but in this video I'm showing you how you can spend one full day in Hanoi. Let's jump in. We started our adventure by walking over to Ngoc Coffee, also known as the Ngoc Cafe. This place opened in the late 2010s and it quickly became a hit because of one simple idea, letting people leave notes on the wall from all over the world. This is such a cool spot. Even if you don't want to leave a note, you can just sit and read all of the notes along the walls. There's like 4 stories here. Plus, it's just a pretty cool spot to have a drink and look out over the view as well. Josh from Through My Lens Vietnam is awesome. I'm gonna put mine right there. I'm sure it'll be there for a day or two before it gets covered. Making memories, love one another, and trust me, buy Bitcoin.
Egg coffee.
First attempt at egg coffee.
Like slightly sweet. I think there's sweet condensed milk in there. And then the egg just makes it like really creamy. I like it.
It's like protein coffee.
It's like, yeah, I think it's already trending in the States.
Everybody's happy here because you can color and you can stick things on walls. What could be better? This spot became popular because of social media, but the coffee was great and it's just a cool place to hang out with great views of the lake. We got here right when they opened at 8 a.m. and as you can see there's nobody here, basically just us. They said that at 10 o'clock on though, it'll be super busy. Tons of people going up and down the stairs, hard to find even a spot. So if you want to do this and you want to have a relaxing time, come in the morning. Shout out to Jack's out and about there on YouTube. Father and son travelers just like me and Pops. Check them out, I guess. From here we set out to explore Hoan Kiem, which is the lake that's right next to the Ngoc Cafe. This is a cool spot in the old quarter and it was right near our hotel. I definitely recommend staying down in this area as you can just walk to so many different fun attractions. So the Ngoc Cafe is right over here and we're walking around the lake heading to this temple. We spend some more time here later, but in this part of the day we just walked over to see the historic temple. In order to walk across the bridge to the temple, you do have to pay for a ticket, which was only a few dollars US when I was there. The temple was originally built in the mid 1700s and then was renovated in the late 1800s. What I found the most interesting about the temple was its connection to the legend of the golden turtle. According to the legend, King Lê Loi received a magical sword from the turtle and he was able to use it to win the war over the Ming invaders and gain independence for Vietnam. And then after the war was over, he returned the sword to the giant turtle in the middle of the lake, which led to the lake's name, which is translated the Lake of the Restored Sword. Inside of the temple, you can see remnants of the Sword Lake turtle, which is a rare turtle that lived in this lake. These 2 specimens are actual turtles from the lake, one that died in the 60s and one that died in 2016. After exploring the temple and learning more about the legend, we made our way across the bridge. Alright, now I'm saying goodbye to the kids and I'm heading out on a food tour before we meet up in 2 hours. You guys know me, food is one of my favorite things to experience while traveling, and so I researched a bunch of different tours, and the one that came the most recommended was called Curious About Vietnam, Miss Yummy Face's Food Tour. So I booked a private tour and I set out for 2 hours to just explore and taste some of the local delicacies. I was set up with a guide named Emma who was fantastic and walked me through all of the different dishes.
Inside there's some wood ear mushroom and minced pork and topped with very crispy shells, you can see here.
And this is just round 1. I don't know how many we're gonna do. That's a lot of food. I'm not even going to try to explain all these dishes or where we ate because the benefit of a food tour is just going with someone knowledgeable who can order in the language, tell you what to do, and introduce you to some of the best foods. Cheers! Wow, that egg just takes up another notch. That was already good. The egg even makes it that much better. We are starting so strong for round 1. Check it out, I am not built for Vietnam. I can't even put my legs underneath the table here. I like it though, I like the style, this is cool. That was such a cool experience. It was like a steamed rice pancake that we had with a little bit of meat in it and the dipping sauce. Definitely not something I've tried before in Vietnam, so I was excited about that.
So in the old quarter, each street will specialize in one product or one dish, and this street is beef steak street.
So after walking for about 5 minutes, we made it to our next stop for beef steak.
One of the coolest parts about this one is that we got to sit there and watch them prepare the entire dish for us. It was a pate and then a beefsteak, and then they added an egg at the end and just cooked the entire thing together over an open flame. This dish came out steaming, and basically what she told me to do was to grab the bread, break it off, and then just start dipping it and scooping all of the different ingredients onto it, concluding with a cucumber and some chili sauce if you're feeling daring.
I don't even know, that might be better than the first place we went to. So many interesting flavors, especially with the egg and then the crunch of the cucumber on top and the pate.
Don't forget the fries too.
Oh, and some American French fries. It is impossible to film audio here, there's just too much honking.
Leaving the amazing beefsteaks behind, we went to my favorite stop of the tour.
We're sitting in the family's living room, and they specialize in making caramel. They've been making it since 1995.
So I was like, this is so funny, there's no table. She said, this is our table, so there you go. Oh, okay. This is such a cool experience. This is the reason to go on a tour like this. You'll never go to a place like this by yourself. You can't speak the language. You have to go with someone who knows. But to have an experience sitting on these little chairs, eating caramel that's been made for 30 years. Cheers. Cheers. Look at that. And it's not overly sweet like the kind that I have in the United States. It's much more about the flavor than it is about the sweetness side. It's very good.
Heading on from there, we walked a little bit down the street and then we tried some young rice that you could find at a lot of the different shops, and that's actually used to give out at weddings in Vietnam.
Okay, so this is like what they would carry for a wedding, and then they would give these out to the guests, these types of packaging. So that's kind of like the traditional wedding cake. That is so cool.
While these tours normally go to 6 or 8 spots, I booked a private tour just because I was going to have to cut it a little bit short due to the amount of time we had in Hanoi. So from here, we just made our way up to one of the famous markets she wanted to show me for our last stop. And let me tell you, this market was wild. They had everything from candy and spices to turtles on display that you could purchase. Making our way through the market, we found this small food stall that could only seat about 6 people and had something called che. This is a sweet dessert soup that they make in Vietnam, and you can take all of these different options and combine them however you want in order to make your soup. I don't even know what was inside of mine, but I had a great time hanging out with everybody while I was waiting.
Yay! This is a real experience right here. Incredible. Such unique flavors in every single bite. Not something I would have ever tried without going on a food tour.
Ending the tour, we said goodbye to our new friends at the stall and then made the walk back to where it started.
Thanks to Emma, that was incredible. If you guys want to go, you can scan this QR code right here or search for Miss Yummy Face.
And thank you so much for joining us. Let's come here to Hanoi. We'll take you to beautiful places and good food, of course.
Guys, huge highlight from my time in Vietnam. I will leave a link in the description. Now we're heading on.
As I head on this motorbike to our next spot, it's a great time to talk to you about this week's sponsor, LMNT. LMNT is my go-to electrolyte drink mix, with each packet containing 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. There's no sugar, no junk, no artificial anything. It's designed to help with real hydration, especially if you're sweating, traveling, hiking, or doing anything active. I took them through my entire month traveling in Asia, and Amy and I used them often, especially on the different crazy adventures we did. I'm also a huge fan of their sparkling drinks, and I use them all the time when I'm working around the house. My favorite has been lemonade, but they actually just released a new pineapple one, which is really great as well. It has that nice crisp carbonation with a bright pineapple flavor that pairs really well with the saltiness. If you're interested in checking out LMNT for yourself, right now they are offering my subscribers a sample pack with any purchase. That's 8 single serving packs with any purchase. You can go to drinklmnt.com/throughmylens or click the link in the description. All right, now let's go explore more Hanoi. Cheers! Back in Hanoi, I picked up the family and we headed to lunch. They hadn't done a food tour like me, so they were hungry, or at least Amy was, and this was the only time we could get a reservation for this famous restaurant. Known as Tham Vi, this is one of the most affordable 1-star Michelin restaurants in the world. And the only way I could find to get reservations was to reach out to them via their Facebook page 2 weeks in advance. I was overwhelmed by the menu with so many great options, and the photos made it easy to order. But I just asked the waiter to bring out some of their most popular dishes for us to try. This restaurant focuses on traditional Northern Vietnamese home cooking, and they told me that the space is actually designed to reflect old Hanoi homes, specifically those from the 70s to 80s. I wish I could tell you all the different things that we got, but I'm honestly not even sure. These egg roll type things though were one of our favorites, especially with the dipping sauce they had. And we just basically threw everything down in the middle and shared it communally, with Amy and I eating most of it and the kids not really eating a lot. The whole meal ended up being around $40 US, which is pretty impressive for a 1 Michelin star restaurant.
That was delicious. Really cool Zen vibe inside, and the food was awesome.
If you ever wondered whether we were perfect travelers, we took our kids to a Michelin restaurant where no one ate anything, and now we're at KFC. We're just like you.
As long as they're fed.
All jokes aside, our kids are good eaters, but when you're in Asia for almost a month, it's nice to have a little taste of home every once in a while.
Amy and Sunny are heading back to the hotel, and Jack is going exploring with me for a little bit. You excited, buddy?
Yeah!
Me too.
The next 4 recommendations are all things that you can add to your day, but you're not going to be able to do all of these in 24 hours. As I said, we were here for a few days on and off, and that's why we could do everything. First up was the Imperial Citadel of Thang Long. This is one of the most important historical sites in Vietnam, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site due to its cultural and historical significance. After paying for a ticket, you can walk into the property and you can go to the museum, which talks a lot about how they were able to uncover a lot of the hidden artifacts here. Wood block containing the Capital Relocation Decree in 1010. The history here dates back over 1,000 years, with archaeological excavations still uncovering different things like foundations. What's crazy is that the capital was officially established here in 1010, meaning this area that's now Hanoi has over 1,000 years of recorded history. They still allow you to climb to the top of the structure, and once you get up there, you can get some great views out over the property itself.
It's like this back area is all under construction right now. This is pretty cool to see though, and to know how old it is. And that shows the parts that they're still unearthing down there. There's not really that much to see here, but this is still a really cool spot with all the history.
Unfortunately, a lot of the structures that did stand here have been destroyed, but it's still cool to see what they have on display. On the way back, we were having trouble getting a Grab, which is their Uber, to come pick us up. So we took this other form of public transportation where you kind of sit in this cart and get biked around.
Well, that was not a very efficient mode of transportation. It took way longer than I anticipated, and he didn't even drop me off in the right area. We had a little bit of a language barrier, so we just paid and moved on, and now we're walking to our next stop.
Back in the Old Quarter, we stopped by St. Joseph's Cathedral, which was built in 1886 during French colonial rule in Vietnam. It was actually modeled after the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, as you can tell by the impressive architecture. Unfortunately for us, they were having a mass when we were there, so we weren't able to go inside, just to walk around and see it from the outside. I really wish we would have more time and would have been able to see the inside, as the moody gray facade here is just so cool and it photographs really well.
I'm going to show you a few other places you can add into your day, starting with the Temple of Literature.
You guys know me, I try to do as much as humanly possible, and so in this 24-hour video I wanted to show you all of the different things that you could do in case there was something that looked better than what we did. This is the Temple of Literature, and it's almost 1,000 years old, as it was built in 1070. And the person working there told me it represents how deep education has been valued in Vietnamese society.
This is a cool spot. It's beautiful, and there's lots of people doing photo shoots in traditional outfits here as well.
There's a lot more to explore here than there was at the Citadel, and they have ponds and different archways and flowers and all sorts of things that you can see. As you explore, you'll walk through 5 different main courtyards, each with its own meaning and function. And then as you make it to the end, you'll be greeted by a temple, which you can go inside if you're interested.
It's wild to see the city that's grown up around this beautiful historical place. There's buildings and traffic all around it.
It only takes about an hour to an hour and a half to see everything, but it's one of my favorite historic spots in the city. From here, it's only about a 5-minute drive over to our next location, the Ho Chi Minh Complex. The mausoleum is the main site here, but I wanted to go to the museum first as it was about to close. This museum was opened in 1990 to mark the 100-year anniversary of Ho Chi Minh's birth. It's not really your typical museum, as it's more designed to document his life from his early years, which involved a lot of travel, to his role as Vietnam's leader. Like I said, I got here right as it was closing, and they only gave me about 20 minutes to explore, so I didn't really get to engage with the museum much at all, other than to just try to take some pictures to show it to you. And then as you exit the museum, be sure to look on Google Maps and to see where the One Pillar Pagoda is, as it's definitely something you're going to want to see. This was originally built in 1049, but unfortunately it's been destroyed and reassembled multiple times over the years, with the most recent being in the 1950s. It's known for its unique design, and it's one of the most iconic temples in Hanoi, and it's just cool to see the small wooden temple balanced on a single stone pillar right in the water. There's an interesting legend that goes with the pagoda, and I will link to the full story in the description so I don't mess it up. The last thing you'll want to see in the complex is the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. After his death in 1969, the government chose to preserve his body, and the mausoleum was completed in 1975. At certain times during the day, you can actually go inside and see his preserved body inside of the mausoleum, but that wasn't happening when we were there, and you can't take any pictures or video inside.
Alright, I'm heading back to meet up with the family and go on to a water puppet show.
Before we go to the water puppet show, let's talk about Train Street, one of the most popular attractions in all of Hanoi. This is the famous street where the train goes right beside you, literally a foot away from you as you're having a drink or having some food. It's a huge tourist attraction and something basically everybody does when they go to Hanoi.
We made it to Train Street about 10 minutes before the train comes. It was packed, but luckily we were able to find a spot right along the train tracks.
This is very wild. The train track is literally right there. Feel like I'm a little too close to it, and it's just super cool looking all the way.
They might have you move back. We'll see. We'll see what they say.
Once the horn goes off saying a train is coming, everybody jumps into action and they move everything and reorganize where you're sitting.
She's telling me to move my legs in, so I am doing as I'm told right now. This is wild how they're closing down this whole street so easily. I'm so excited. This is something I wanted to do for a long time. It's a silly tourist thing, but it's very unique. Jack and Sunny put some bottle caps down there to grab afterwards as well.
Only a few minutes after they cleaned everything up, we heard a horn and the train started coming.
It is wild how close to the train we are. You can touch it very easily.
It's so hard to describe this experience. It doesn't feel as crazy on video as it does in real life, but I mean, that train is right next to you and everybody's just having a drink and enjoying the experience.
That was so crazy. The train, I could literally beep, there you go, I'm touching it.
Yeah.
It was slightly stressful, I'm sweating right now.
And now that the train's crossed, we can just enjoy our smoothies right alongside the tracks. Literally 2 minutes after the train goes by, there's already somebody set up on the tracks. That was such a crazy tourist experience to have here. I think I might have to come back a couple more times while I'm in Hanoi. That's the cafe that we were at right there, but as you can see, there's lots of different cafes. You just gotta get here early so you can get a spot.
I'll show you Train Street again later in this video when I come back at night and give you a little bit more information on it. But basically, you can reach out to a lot of these shop owners via WhatsApp. You can see their information in Google Maps, or you can just get there about 45 minutes early and walk the street and try to find a cafe to stop at.
So the next train on a weekday isn't until 7 o'clock. Be sure to check the schedule because that's about a 4-hour delay before the next train. So you wouldn't really want to wait around. You want to know when you're supposed to go.
All right, now let's head back to Old Quarter and go to the water puppet show.
Honestly, I really like this city. It's a lot of chaos, but it is so fun to walk around and there's so many things to see and take pictures of.
Before going to the water puppet show, we decided to get an egg coffee, which is famous in Hanoi, and the place that supposedly created it is only about a 5-minute walk from the theater. Egg coffee started in the 1940s during a milk shortage, and they actually use a whipped egg yolk as a substitute for milk.
Alright, so this is the place that supposedly created the egg coffee. This is my first experience with it. Wow, that is a really, really thick foam at the top. Almost feels like I'm eating yogurt or something like that. But it's nice and sweet. It's hard to even get the coffee. The foam is so thick on the top.
Creamy, kind of like creme brulee mixed with an espresso.
Wow. You definitely have to stir it. I finally got to the espresso and it was super, super strong. But when I stirred it, it is so refreshing and good. Creamy. So creamy and good. Refreshing is a little bit of a weird way to describe it. I can easily say that that's one spot that lives up to the hype. That is good.
Now onto the water puppet show, which is located right near the lake in the Old Quarter, and it's one of the most popular tourist attractions every day. I recommend getting tickets in advance. Even though there are multiple shows per day, there's a lot of people that will show up and try to get a ticket right before the show starts. Plus, buying it in advance allows you to select the section that you want to be in, and so we picked the VIP section, which was the first 3 rows. The show's 45 to 60 minutes long, and I would say that one of my kids loved it and the other one was getting bored about halfway through. I thought it was fascinating though, and I read the history and it said that it originated in rural villages in the Red River Delta. Basically, it dates back to the 11th century and farmers performed shows in the flooded rice paddies after harvest season. This is a more modernized example obviously, but it still keeps that historic charm. Also, they have live music that accompanies it, and I had no idea what was going on most of the time as it's in Vietnamese. They do have the option to buy an English language headset, but I didn't realize that until after the show was over, so definitely do that if you go. My favorite part was at the very end when the king was on the boat and then the golden turtle came up. This is the legend that I told you about earlier of the lake where the golden turtle took the sword back after the king used it to defeat his enemies. It was cool to see that played out here. And then once the show ends, the performers come out and take their bows, which I thought was cool to see as well.
I thought that was a lot of fun. It may be a little bit long for my kids, but if your kids are over 5, I'm sure they'll have a great time. And I honestly thought it was really cool to see the history and just the presentation, the music. Definitely fun.
Alright, to end our time in Hanoi, I'm going to show you a few of the things we did at night in the city. First up, a second visit to Train Street.
Back on Train Street, this time at night.
I'm sure there's lots of questions about Train Street, so I'll try to answer some of them here. So there are multiple areas that people consider Train Street, but I did the northern one both times. This is the most popular and it's the closest to the old quarter where I was staying. Anytime I wanted to go there, I just put this railway cafe into my grab and they drop me off right along the street. From here you can walk along the train tracks in both directions and there's a ton of cafes on both sides of the street. When I came this time, I first walked north to see how far up I could go.
This area down here has really cool lights, but as you can see, it's not as interesting to most people because it doesn't have that narrow alleyway that they have right back there.
I had about 45 minutes to kill before the train, so I decided to then walk south about as far as I could go to see if there was any spot that looked specifically better to me.
I still can't believe how wild it is to actually be here, and all of the different vendors are trying to get you to sit in their cafe. We got about 30 minutes before the train comes, so I'm just walking around and taking it all in. Since it's not that busy right now, I'm not gonna have trouble finding a seat. I'm gonna go down and walk on the other side of Train Street.
This street right here is where I had the grab drop me off every time, and that's where I'm saying you can either walk south or north and see all the different cafes. Also, I should note that they always talk about closing Train Street down. Basically, 3 times a year you'll hear about it being closed down. So far it hasn't been closed down, but you never know, in the future this might not be something you're able to do.
So that side definitely has a lot more lights, but I think this side is more narrow and I like this one a little bit better.
After walking around for about 25 minutes, I finally settled on a cafe that I thought would have a good view of the train, and I grabbed a drink.
I got a Hanoi beer just so that I could put my bottle cap on when the train comes by again. I don't know, it's a pretty cool souvenir to have a smashed Hanoi bottle cap from the Train Street. It's hard to beat sitting on the street and drinking a $2 USD beer.
And then like clockwork, the alarm went off again, everybody got moved around to get into their position, and the train started coming down the tracks. For me, this was even more wild than the first time as I felt like I was half the distance away.
That is very close this time. Wow. I can't even move my arm because I am so close to the train.
It was cool to see it both day and night, but I think nighttime is the way to go as the lights just make it so unique.
That was nuts! So close to the train. And there it is, a souvenir from the experience. I don't know if it comes through on the video or not, but that was insane. That train was so close to me, like 6 inches at some point. I was trying to squeeze into the wall just to make sure I was safe.
Once the train went by, I decided to walk around the old quarter and just explore it a little bit, as it's one of my favorite things to do in the city, and it was especially beautiful at night. I mean, look at how cool this bridge is lit up at night, and there was a night market going on when I was down there.
The night market is such a cool time to be down here because they just shut down these streets. You can walk around without all the traffic.
The night market has 2 major streets that are closed off to most vehicular traffic. You do see motorbikes scooting through there. And that allows the shops to stay open late, and you will just see thousands of people out shopping and going to restaurants and just enjoying this experience together. One street over on the main market street, you will see all of the pop-up tents along the entire middle of the road, and there's no motorbikes going through this section. Here you have the shops along the sidewalk, and then you have tons of vendors all throughout the middle of the street. They sell everything from perfume and bags to souvenirs and trinkets to even art. I was there at around 8 p.m. and there was so much energy, and it was kind of chaotic just trying to walk down the street. It reminded me of the night markets that we went to in Taipei with how many people were out and about.
Around on a Friday, this is definitely the best time to be down in the old quarter. There's so much going on. So many shops set up for about a half mile down the street. Great deals to be had and just a fun time in the city. And with that, our time in Hanoi is done. Hopefully you enjoyed exploring with us. If you want to see more Vietnam content, click up here. Or if you want to continue on to Taipei, click up here. See you on the next one.
That's not the end of our Vietnam journey. We have videos on Ho Chi Minh City and Ha Long Bay as well. Alright, we'll see you on the next one.